Edition of Perspectives from the Sky on this 15th day of October 2022. God, I can't believe we're only a couple months from a new year, from 2023. You all get that feeling of time flying? Maybe just because I'm getting old. Other people feel like that way too. Time flying by so fast. Well, we are now in autumn eclipse season. To my way of estimating, that began last weekend when Pluto changed directions from retrograde to direct, and there was a full moon, a normal full moon, but still a strong full moon in Aries. And now we're into the vibrations, the energies, the frequencies of autumn eclipse season 2022. I'll go over a little bit of what some of the dates of things happening. The first eclipse is only 10 days away. So I will not be on with another radio show until right after that first eclipse. That'll be 2 weeks from today, which is the 29th. So the first eclipse on the 25th, Scorpio new moon, Scorpio solar eclipse, 2 degrees of Scorpio. Second eclipse, November 8th. And that one will be at 16, almost exactly 16 degrees of Sun in Scorpio, Moon in Taurus. So a Taurus full moon, lunar eclipse. And interestingly and powerfully, the planet Uranus will be at 16 plus degrees of Taurus. So it'll be right in that eclipse, meaning there'll be a lot of wake-up calls, surprise events, potentially. Not just a coincidence. That's election day. And there's a lot of weight given to the results for that election day. There's still a lot of Trump people that are involved in their own elections with Trump backing, even here in Arizona, where Deborah and I live. By the way, Deborah will be on later. I'm going to be giving a straightforward and direct presentation of the things that are coming up. Deborah will help us to learn how to navigate what's coming up. She'll show the love and the calmness that we will need and show us how to do that when she comes on, which is about halfway past the hour. So, yeah, transformation is right here. You know, I talk about it all the time. In fact, I've been talking about it for since the mid-'80s, about how this time would come. And it's here now. This is the transformation of consciousness out of an old age and into a new age. And of course, consciousness is the most important part. You know, Christ said, the kingdom is within. And that's so true. It's like what we do on the inside of ourselves has so much to do with what's going to happen on the outside of us. There's a lot to be said for as above, so below, as within, so without. So we can't always control very much what's outside of us, but we do have some amount of control on what's inside of us, what's in our minds, what's in our heart, what's in our overall consciousness. We do have the ability to work on that. And that's important right now because there's an old paradigm that we've been all programmed into that's falling apart, that isn't right for who we are as humans, isn't right for the earth, isn't right for other creatures on the earth. It's just not right anymore. If it ever was, I guess it was appropriate to whatever the last age was, Pisces age. But for this age we're moving into, it's not going to work. It's got us into old us versus them, me versus you, a kind of duality that really isn't appropriate for who we're growing into. It used to be, from a psychological standpoint, a Freudian world, more black and white. Mom did it. Sex is the reason. Into a more Jungian world, which is about integrating all the opposites. Integrating all the opposites like the yin yang. Dark and light, male and female. Overly strict dualism is leaving. And you could see it even in the gender changes that are happening in our world. And I know a lot of you believe, and I have to concur, that maybe it goes too far sometimes when we're taking young kids and pushing them to change genders, pushing them. Because some people think it's cool. It's difficult for the people that are involved to go through that, from people I've talked to. Yeah, it's right. And when it's right, you got to go through it. But not time as a child, in my estimation, to do anything physically to change genders. Best to wait till they're older. But the point I was making is there's fluidity and nuances between the opposites now. That everything is not so black and white in the new consciousness. I think that's one of the reasons that the gender issues are coming up, the gender fluidity. I think it's largely because overall in our consciousness, we're moving beyond black or white. Because just think of it, black or white causes, if you're not with me, then you're against me. I mean, there's no middle ground where we can kind of work things out. It's either you agree with me or, you're my enemy. And a lot of people really do think that way, especially about more important issues like the country they're in, the religion, and things like that. It's like, I've got the best one. I've got the one that's going to win. Yours is inferior. Yours is going to lose. Black and white, dualistic thinking cannot be our paradigm going forward. It's blowing us up. So now we're coming into a season that's got a lot of transformation in it. Eclipse season. And a lot with the sign Scorpio, which is powerful, passionate, and intense. So let me give you a rundown on how things are moving for this eclipse season. On October 22nd, that's a week away, Saturn goes direct. And then on the 23rd, the next day, the sun moves into Scorpio, getting ready for the solar eclipse when the moon joins it. Venus moves into Scorpio that same day on October 23rd. And then there's the solar eclipse in Scorpio, 2 degrees of Scorpio, on the 25th, on October 25th. And then shortly thereafter, 5 days later, Mars goes retrograde on the 30th of October. Let's stop there. I'll get into November in a little while, but let's just take that step by step there. So on the 22nd, Saturn changes directions from retrograde to direct. Remember, we've had so many planets retrograde. Pluto went back direct last weekend. Mercury went back direct earlier in the month. And on the 22nd, Saturn goes direct. So what's Saturn? Saturn is gravity. Saturn is father time, tick, tick. And when Saturn goes direct, metaphorically speaking, time marches on. Like, it's like a sense of what is fated, what needs to be done, what we feel pulled very strongly to do begins that day. If you've put off a lot of things, when Saturn goes direct, you start getting a sense of, I need to do it. I need to do it soon, it looks like. Saturn's the ruler of Capricorn. And when we do our resolutions in January, on January 1st, Saturn, Capricorn. So it's about saying, this is what I'm going to do. I'm committed to doing. That's when Saturn changes directions, and that's on the 22nd. Then the next day, like I said, Sun goes into Scorpio, out of Libra. Venus goes out of Libra into Scorpio, same day. And then that starts the motor running a little bit, things heating up, a little bit of intensity on the 23rd, especially with Saturn the day before. You're going to feel like, things are shifting, things are changing. And then on the 25th, of course, on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, you're already going to be feeling this new moon in Scorpio coming up. But then on the 25th, that's the day that the actual solar eclipse in Scorpio is. And it's going to start in intense. It's already started the intensity. I know a lot of you are feeling that already. But the intensity will pick up even more for that eclipse. And then 2 weeks later, the next eclipse on election day, which I'll get to in a little while. So eclipses, just like when there's transits of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, those are the three transformational planets. Remember, up until 1781, Saturn was the furthest planet out that was known. 1781 Uranus, 1846 Neptune, 1930 Pluto. And so that was like the heavens and the universe telling us it's time to integrate new energies in order to begin to get ready for the Age of Aquarius, especially the first one, Uranus, in 1781, because Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. And when you look down on the earth, as opposed to below, at the same time that Uranus was discovered, the French, I've said many times, the American and French revolutions were circling around that time, 1781. And they have a lot to do with what Aquarius is about. Of the people, by the people, for the people, moving beyond kings and queens, dictators, autocrats. That process began then, the very beginning cusp of the Age of Aquarius began then. Then Neptune in 1846 picked up the pace. And then in 1930, Pluto picked up the pace even more. So our consciousness is changing. I mentioned one a little while ago about the nuances, shifting, the changing around that. More of a sense of equality, more of a sense of community, as opposed to just me versus you, or me and you even. More of a sense of community, moving away from blood family into family community. Doesn't mean you were getting rid of blood families, or they'll stay important, I'm sure. But more important for the consciousness expansion is that we start knowing that our brothers and sisters, our family, is not just blood members. It's members of the human family. That's our family, not just because of blood. And that'll be important, because with all the wars and conflicts, to know that your family is not just the blood family will be very important. A lot of you are like that now. A lot of people I talk with, clients and friends and others, talk about their soul family and wanting to meet their soul family, or they already have, and how happy they are. So that's got a lot to do with the changing of consciousness. Also, the diversity within unity is a part of that thought. Like, unity is not based on something small like my country or my club that I belong to or my family. It's like the whole world, and each one in the world is true to its identity, to its individuality. It doesn't even have to be the whole world, whatever group you're involved in. Each member is true to its own individuality and entity, and from there finds unity. You can see a lot of the wars are happening because someone says, well, my country's democracy, I'm going to go into other countries and make them democracies too. Or I'm going to fight over Ukraine because I want it to be a democracy, and the other side wants it to be whatever they want it to be. It's like that must end. It is ending. The only concern now is how much we have to go through to get to these new ways of being, these new ways of thinking. And remember, the universe is there to back us in our consciousness as we go through all this. Because the universe, unlike the human structure we've created at times, is not anywhere near what I'm about to say. Its pillars are love and truth. Well, when we've left the nature of that, as so many people have, as the culture in general has, as we leave love and truth, we leave two of the things that keep us together. Well, look what's happened to truth. It's so hard to find out. You look at the media, one side, the truth is one way, and from the other side is another way of seeing the truth. People twist the truth all the time to make it the way they want it to be. Like objectivity, where has it gone? We need objective truth because that will join people together. Just like what else joins us all together? Love. And where is love? Yeah, there's personal love, I guess, for some people. But for a lot of people, there's not even that kind of love, not really, in the heart. And there's not love for fellow human beings. I mean, love is about the connections. So it's always good to look for how you're connected to someone else, not how you're different only. It's okay to look how you're different as far as identity goes, to a certain extent. You don't want it to be an ego problem, but you want to know how you are individually. That's part of the new world too. But you also want to stay connected to how are we similar? What ways do we connect with one another? I mean, if Russians and Ukrainians look, they're connected in a lot of ways, right? They grew up in the same area of the world. They're connected a lot in many ways, and even just as humans, everybody needs to eat. Everybody lives, born, dies, goes to the bathroom. We are all connected in many, 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 many ways. So, changing of consciousness. Now, when there's eclipses and there's transits, well, the transit of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto means where they are in relationship to where your natal planets are, planets in your birth chart. That tells an astrologer or tells a person who knows a little bit about this that changes are coming. And they're big changes if it's Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because they're about, remember, they were discovered 1781 and beyond. They're ambassadors of the new age, and they are about transforming a person out of the old paradigm consciousness and into the new. So what happens now? How does this happen? Let's take eclipses for now, even though we know it's Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto also. Let's look at eclipses because that's what's on our doorstep. So when eclipses come, or Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, whatever, some area of our life, or maybe all areas of our life, are getting shaken up. Why are they getting shaken up? They're getting shaken up because the form that they're in, the condition that they're in, is not right for the evolution of you, of the person at that time anymore. So a relationship gets shaken up. You're having a hard time being together a lot. Your job gets shaken up. It doesn't feel, you don't get along with the boss, or something's wrong with the work that you're doing. Your home doesn't feel right anymore, or isn't right. Things are going wrong in that home, or it feels like I don't belong here anymore. But things shake up in a big way. Why do they shake up? They shake up so that you'll make changes. Or those changes could just be transformation of the situation. So let's say it's a relationship that's really shaking up. It's really got some trouble, some problems. You go to counseling, do some other way to see how to get yourselves back connected again. Sometimes relationships shake up because one person's been growing in one direction, another person's been growing in a different direction, and then they start feeling like it's not there anymore for them. The connections are not there. They're moving in different directions. So the crisis gets big. Maybe somebody cheats on the other person. Maybe something else happens, but it gets shaken up. So you need to find a way to transform it, to give it life still in the new chapters of each one of your lives, or it's going to end. Well, some people have a way of hanging on, and they just maybe end up in a stale relationship for the next 30 years. But most people, when they're in that kind of crisis, will either transform the relationship or the relationship is going to end. This is what transformation is about. As our consciousness changes, as our needs and desires in our life change, so do the conditions of different areas of our life. Could be on a job, or even larger than just a job, a career. Maybe you're a salesperson and then it doesn't feel right to you. You go out to sell, you can't do it anymore. It just isn't right. You can force yourself, but you're not making any sales. Something is shaking things up for you to change your careers. Now, some people are thinking right now, oh, well, great, Leo, but I got to pay my bills too. Okay, true. So you work with reality at the same time. Maybe you leave your job and get a part-time job that's more affiliated or more connected to what it is you want to do, or what you're not want to do as much as what you're right to do now. And you get to know a lot of that in your heart, what's right for you next. Follow your heart. It's a good way to go. But let your head be your advisor too, so you don't do anything really crazy. So the transformation happens. The job, the relationship, the home, your health, something is getting shaken up to get you to change your ways. Like a lot of times when people get these things that are happening in their life that are shaking it up, they get into total panic. They get into total fear, partly because they have a hard time letting go of what's been comfortable to them, partly because they just want to hang on to where they've been. It makes them feel secure, even if it's not working anymore. The familiar feels secure no matter what, right? So it's time now with this eclipse season to keep these things in mind. If things are shaking up in your life and any of those areas that I just spoke about, it's because it's time to transform them and or let them go. In the greater world, remember diversity within unity, equality, things like that. The world is shaking up, both economically and geopolitically, because the structures that run the world are changing. Yeah, the economy's in trouble. I told everybody a long time ago this was going to happen. Military-industrial complex. That's economy. That's police and military-industrial complex. That's what the United States and NATO have used to build some power in the world. And now those things are shaking up. The United States has a Pluto return this year and next year. And that Pluto return means that it's the first one, by the way, after almost 250 years, because Pluto moves very slowly. So this Pluto return means that Pluto, which represents the military-industrial complex, Pluto's in the second house of the United States chart, is going through huge shifts and changes. The military-industrial complex. So look at the economy and look at the things that are starting out in the world. Those things are going to continue. I can tell you that Israel is right on the verge, and it'll start in a powerful way during this eclipse season, on the verge of huge transformation of its world, with the Palestinians, with Iran, with the Muslim world. It's on the verge now of going through a huge transformation. China starting this eclipse season. The eclipses fall right into not only Israel's chart, but China's chart too. And that means there's going to be huge transformation around China. They're going to be doing something with Taiwan either this eclipse season or early next year. You can count on it. Because what's happening is China, Russia, Iran, and others are building their own block of strength. They're doing it covertly to a large extent. But believe me, it is happening. It is happening to threaten NATO and the Western world. Now, Deborah's going to come on later to let you know, which is how I feel too, that each one of us needs to concentrate on the changing of consciousness and our own personal destiny in our own personal world. There's nothing that you can do about the economy or the geopolitical shifts in the world. There's nothing you can do. But you can run your own world, your own life, your own consciousness. That each one of us has some control over. So keep your concentration on that. Don't spend too much time looking at the news and looking at these events as doom and gloom. They're only doom and gloom for the old paradigm, for the old way of being, for the old power structures, for the old economic system, which is not fair across this country or across this world. These things have needed to change, and they are changing. Does that mean that your world is like, oh my God, what? No. You will be led if you stay present and don't let fear take over. You'll be led to the right places, the right thoughts, the right people. A lot of you that are listening to this have done that before. You've gone through huge transformations in your life. And you began to see the synchronicities, the signs and symbols from the universe, the deeper connections and meaning of everything that's happening in your life. Remember, everything that happens with meaning. Know it, know it, know it. I'm older than most of you. I've seen it through all these years. I've experienced it. Once you get into that new consciousness and you believe it and you stay in it, that's your reality. And the synchronicities, the signs and symbols will show you what to do, where to go, who to connect with. But there has to be some amount of surrender, meaning your ego needs to let go of control of everything. True transformation of consciousness and of your life will not and cannot happen if your ego is dominating and controlling everything in your life. It will not happen. Doesn't mean you have to become passive and not act in your world. That's what people think sometimes. Surrender means, oh, well, I'm just going to lay down and let life happen and I'm just not going to do it. No. It means you're going to surrender your ego's needing to control everything. But the universe will show you through signs, symbols, and events what to do with your new world. Not fall asleep, what to do. You'll be guided on what to do at the right time. So you surrender enough of your ego to allow for all this to open up. So you need an open mind. You need an open heart. You need an open soul. And you need connection with your body, because your body has much wisdom. Deborah will be able to tell us more about that. It's like your body has wisdom. And your body can tell you many things too about what's going wrong, what can be done differently. It can tell you like, oh God, this doesn't feel right to do this. This person I'm with right now, I got to go. Right? That's trusting your body, trusting your heart, trusting your soul, trusting your mind too, but not trusting your mind to be in control of everything. That's where the big shift is. We don't need our minds to control everything. Our hearts need to be guiding the way. They need to make a relationship, heart and head. So now we know solar eclipse in Scorpio, that's when things are really going to open up. And if you've got any of the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. We got something around 2 degrees, like anywhere from 0 degrees up to about 5 degrees in fixed signs, those ones I just mentioned. This first eclipse is going to have some big shifts and changes for you. Now, the second eclipse will be on election day. And again, that's not just a coincidence. That's meaningful. The universe knows what it's doing. We have a lot of culture conflicts going on, right? Well, they're going to be in the spotlight. Like I said, even here in Arizona, we've got a lot of Trumpsters running for governor and for Senate and for a lot of the other offices here. And so, Donald Trump is hoping that those people win because he looks really good for 2024. Remember, at the same time, we've got this January 6th, 2021 commission investigating Donald Trump. So a lot of things are going to come to a head around that election, around the investigation from that commission, around who wins and loses. You can expect there to be an exacerbation of the culture conflict here in this country. Deborah told me to not click my pen. She's right. I've been clicking my pen. I am sorry I've been clicking my pen. But you were right, Deborah. So then on the 30th of October, Mars will go retrograde at about 25 degrees of Gemini. And it'll stay that way until the 12th of January, 2023. So what does that mean when Mars goes retrograde? It means it's time to reevaluate what you want in your life. It's time to reevaluate how you use your will in your life. Hopefully you're moving more and more toward divine will and my will are connected. It's not my ego against divine will. So the more you can connect with that, the more that Mars can be a positive in your life instead of one that separates you from what's really right for you and from everyone else. So that's what Mars retrograde will do. In the world, it's going to have a lot to do with the conflicts and things in the world. Because don't forget, Mars is the one of the things it is. Many other more wonderful things, but one of the things it is the god of war. So a lot of those conflicts are going to be shifting and changing during Mars retrograde. Now Mercury will go retrograde on the 29th of December and stay that way until the 18th of January 2023. So for a while, you're going to have both Mars and Mercury retrograde while all these changes are happening. Eclipse season is not the end of big transformational change in our world, in our country. That's going to continue in January. Then February is 28 degrees of fixed signs. I spotted that a few years ago, like in 2017, when there was a total solar eclipse in August. That was the month that the white supremacists were in Virginia, and those protesting against them were there too. And I remember Trump at that time saying there's good people on all sides or something like that. And that was one thing that happened. And then the North Korea situation was happening that same month. Remember when they were chumming up Kim Jong-un and Trump? They were all buddies and stuff for a while. It's like really weird. So things are going to happen in the world and around the culture conflict in February. It's going to be a big, big turning point in February because all sorts of countries that have planets at 28 degrees of fixed signs, just like in 2017 in August, when that total solar eclipse was at 28 degrees of Leo. So again, February, big turning point. January, February, March, April, we'll have a lot of change and shifts in the world. You just have to concentrate on your world and making the shifts there. And let the cards fall where they may in the bigger world. Yeah, you might have to make adjustments with your money and other things in life, but it'll be okay. Not because I'm a Pollyanna, I'm not. That's why I tell you these things. That's not a Pollyanna. Things are going to happen in the world, but you're going to be okay as long as you follow the signs and the symbols and allow your consciousness to change the way it needs to. If you need some help with some of this stuff, please don't hesitate. Write me at Solus, SOULUS, at AOL.com. I haven't been saying that. I don't know why, but I can help you with a lot of the transformation through astrology and through counseling. Transformational counseling is what I'm talking about. Help you through the transformation out of your old consciousness into your new, and working through some of the things in your life around your jobs, your relationships, etc. I do couples counseling for transformational way too, using astrology to help people see the differences and the similarities between them and their mates in relationships. And before I give this up to Deborah, I do want to say one more thing. I have a class that I will be teaching on the 19th of October. Wow, that's not too far away. It's 4 days away, in fact. So what's this class going to be like? We're going to have the astrology. I'm going to be talking about what's going on in the world, transformation of consciousness. I'm going to be talking about each person's chart, because I'll be looking at the individual charts in the class. It starts on the 19th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have 8 classes to it, each class about an hour and a half, about 90 minutes. So the astrology will be in that, both global, transformational wise, new age wise, people's individual charts, and additionally, you get a lot for this class. Additionally, I'm going to be working with people to make contact. That's right. Contact with beings outside of our Earth human plane. I'll be using remote viewing, soul travel perhaps, but remote viewing for sure, to help people to move to these other places and make contact. How do I know I can do this? I did it myself, and I was asked to lead a group. It's through LightNet, LIGHTNET, LightNet. They'll be sponsoring this class, the one I'm doing and the one that about 7 other people will be doing. So please, if you've got an interest in this, I think I've got 1 and maybe 2 openings left. That's it. The cost is $199, which I hate when they do that. $200 is the cost for those 8 weeks. So write me at soulless, SOULUS, at AOL.com if you have an interest in joining this class. And now we're right on the verge of what we need. Got what I need every day. Deborah Knighton Tallarico is going to come on and talk to us about how to get ourselves in good places inside ourselves around what's happening, to not focus on the events. I mentioned the events and the countries and stuff like that just so you're alert to what's going on, but don't get swallowed up by it. Just know that it's there so that you can not be so devastated as things happen. They're going to happen. They're meant to happen. Many things have happened in our world with our human family throughout history. Many, many things have happened, and we make it through, and we're going to make it through what this is too. But not just make it through like, you go through a storm and then you hide your head like this. Now the storm's over and you go, the storm's over. No, more like you're awake and alert for what your destiny is through this. Signs, symbols, synchronicities taking you through this so that you can transform, evolve, improve yourself and your soul and your life. That's what this is about. So now I'm going to turn it off to my better half. They always say that. But in this case, I'm sure true. Yes. So, Deborah, do you feel ready to come on and relate with everybody? Good. And here she comes. Hey, Deb.
Hey. Hey, everybody.
Are you on mute or something, honey? I don't hear you.
I'm not on mute. You can't hear me? Uh-oh.
Yeah, maybe it's just me, but I can't hear you. Somebody write in on the chat and let us know if you can hear Deborah.
There's no one in the chat box. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you, Deb.
You can't hear me.
Yeah, we've had such crazy stuff with this. Remember about a month ago, nothing was coming out of my microphone when I had Zenka, who's one of the heads of LightNet, the group I'll be doing the class with. She had to carry the whole
someone just said, yeah.
Episode because I had nothing working with the microphone. Deb, you got it working again?
Someone said yes. So Lynn, can you tell me, can you hear my voice when I'm talking right now? She just put in,
I can't hear you.
Yes, loud and clear, both.
Okay, yes, loud and clear both. Okay, so you're loud and clear to people that are listening in, honey. For some reason, it doesn't come through to mine, but you're good. Sorry about that.
So the hard
Thank
part,
you, Lynn, for letting us know. Deb,
so the hard
you can
part
take over.
So the hard part is you and I cannot talk. So just let me, I guess I just need to talk first, and then I'll let you know at the end, Leo, since Leo cannot hear me. So maybe what I'll do is let him listen to me on the phone. Maybe that'll work. Hang on just a second, everybody, and then I'll start. I'm just going to give Leo a call so he can hear me at least to know when I'm done. Leo?
Yeah.
If you could answer your phone.
No, I can hear you now, Deb.
Oh, you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry about that. Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody, for the glitches. It's not even Mercury retrograde, and there's glitches.
No.
So, whew. Okay, now you can hear me. And
you're good, Deb.
Yes. Okay, good. So, yeah, I'm going to just piggyback on what Leo started talking about. And I just wanted to add in a couple things to add to the power of this time. You know, as we're getting ready for the new moon eclipse in Scorpio, and right after the new moon eclipse in Scorpio is Samhain, which is the midpoint between the equinox and the winter solstice. And it's that time of really honoring our ancestors. And right now in the cycle of Venus, so Venus has a 18 or 19 month cycle. And I've been studying this and doing a ceremonial journey for the last few years with a group that I'm in, Venus Alchemy. Anyway, so right now, Venus is not visible in the morning or the evening sky because she's considered to be in the underworld right now, which means she's actually behind the sun, so we cannot see Venus. And she's actually traveling with the sun, so it means that by the end of October, the sun and Venus are actually going to conjunct in Scorpio. And that adds to the power, I think, of this time. You know, Venus and the moon together in Scorpio will also happen. And it's all during this period of time between the two eclipses. So, what I wanted to say about that to guide people is that it's a really good time to do deep inner work. Scorpio is that energy of inner transformation, transmutation. You know, it's the phoenix rising, dying from the ashes, being reborn. So that's going to be coming in soon when the sun and Venus both are going to be moving into Scorpio. I think next week on the 22nd or something. I think it's on the 22nd. So
23rd on those two planets moving into Scorpio, honey.
Yeah, so there's going to be a deepening. So if we can just, just embrace the deepening and just allow yourself to go on an inner journey. And when Venus is in the underworld, so the cycle of Venus is very much connected with the journey of Inanna, going to the underworld and back. And a lot of times people fear the underworld, but really it's a great opportunity really to work with our shadow side, to do that deeper inner work. And also this period of time is to really start looking at ancestral patterns. What ancestral patterns are kind of underneath the surface running your life. Like, notice the patterns in your life. And just if you can start, you can start connecting with your ancestors and wondering, just start wondering how is this connected now to maybe a pattern that my ancestors have been carrying, and to really look at it that way. And to just also start honoring your ancestors as we get close to Samhain. What are the gifts of your ancestral lineage? And one way to do that is to actually, and maybe I'll do this meditation in the next radio show because it'll be right at Samhain time. But you can actually connect with an ancestor. You can connect with a wise ancestor, maybe even going all the way back to indigenous ancestor, that can actually be a guide for you and help you in clearing and working through any issues you might have that you discover are connected to your lineages, because we actually have 4 lineages with both our grandparents. And when we go way, way, way back, we find how connected we are to so many people. So that was just one thing that I wanted to share, and to just really embrace this time of deepening as we go deeper into the autumn season. And as the Mother Earth's energy gets pulled back inward down into the roots, because that's what happens at this time of the year when we have the first frost of the year. With all the plants, they start bringing their energy down into their roots. And so that's, in a way, since we're so connected, we are actually one with the earth. We can just start beginning to bring our own energy down into our roots. And that's where it connects with, our roots, our ancestry, our connection with the earth. And just grounding ourselves, our energy, bringing our energy down. Not that we're not also connected to the universe, but it's a time of bringing our energies down into our roots that can just really help us. And in connected with what Leo was talking about in terms of when things are going on in the outer world, which we all know there's things going on always, but we are in a more intense period on the earth right now as we're shifting ages. And we're in the Aquarian age now, but we're very much still in the transition, I believe, for the next at least 10 years or more. We're still in this transition. And the old world is dismantling. And it's really important, rather than focusing on the dismantling, even though we're not ignoring that, we're aware of it, but we don't focus on the dismantling, because what's really important now is for us to focus on, like Leo was talking about, the new consciousness, the new earth. What are our visions? What is this new consciousness? And as Leo mentioned, it's a consciousness of love and truth and cooperation and living in community. And the word community comes from common unity. And as Leo always talks about, also diversity, because it's also honoring our unique gifts, because we each have a facet of the divine within us that is needed for the whole. And that makes me think about the unified field that many people are talking about now, also known as a quantum field of consciousness. It's that field of consciousness that is, we can't really see it. And it's what I call like the web of creation. And I very much feel it connected to Grandmother Spider from the native tradition, who weaves this big web of interconnectedness. And so in this great unified field, we are all connected, and we all a facet, or a speck of light, a spark of light, should we say, a spark of light that makes up that great web of creation. And we all have a part to play. We all have gifts to bring forth to serve the whole, and to serve our whole community, our whole earth community. So there's all different layers of community, our more intimate communities, our larger community where we live, our even larger community of our country, and then our more global family. And it's like knowing that we're all part of a human global family. And there's this energy of oneness and common unity, while also we each have our unique offerings, our unique talents that's going to help us to move into this new era on the earth. I believe it's a new golden age. It's also, Leo talks about it being the Aquarian age, which is true. But after Aquarius, it'll move into another age. But I believe there's a bigger golden age that we're moving into. We've been in golden ages before. So it's that time now when things are going on in the outer world, things are dismantling, to really just focus on, okay, what is this new consciousness of common unity, community, interconnectedness, expressing my individuality, bringing my gifts forth? What are my gifts that will help create this new vision for the new earth, where there's peace and harmony, and we live sustainably and in sacred relationship with the earth and each other and all life? That's the new consciousness. That's the new earth. It doesn't mean we're all the same. Like Leo said, we're not all the same. We're not robots. And our soul is very important, but we're part of this larger whole common unity community together. So what's your vision? And this is the time to really start thinking about that and focusing on that when things get rough in the world, rather than focusing on your fears. Focus on, okay, what can I do? What can I do to contribute to this new earth? What's my contribution? And, I hear many people talking now about the new economy, and how the new economy is going to be based on us living and sharing our divine gifts, our divine nature, rather than just working for the machine, which we've been doing for this big system. It's not going to be about that anymore. It's going to be about our divine gifts, and really each person being directly connected to source, the universal source, to Mother Earth, and thus all our divine gifts. And that's what the new economy is going to be based on, is us bringing those gifts forth, and knowing that as we all bring our gifts forth, we're creating this new global family and community based in the new principles that are aligned with universal laws. The universal laws are so important. The universal laws of love and wisdom and truth and compassion for all, and reciprocity and cooperation. All those things are like universal laws. And instead of being beholden to a government, it's being beholden to the universe, great spirit, source, and the laws of the universe, and going back to that. So that's what I wanted to say. And as Leo said, it's going to be also an integration, and because it all comes within us. I mean, to have that common unity and community and that global family outside of us, we need to have that inner global family. We need to have that peacefulness within our own consciousness, within our own psyches. So the marriage of the masculine and feminine within, yin and yang, the heart and the mind, the right and the left hemispheres of our brain, which is, the creative, intuitive, and the logical, and all that coming into unification. And then we are being the new humans in the new earth, which have that divine balance, harmony. We live in sacred relationship within ourselves, with ourself, and then with the different parts of ourselves, the different archetypes that are within us, and also with all the spiritual archetypes, the larger collective archetypes, and with each other and with Mother Earth, which is so important. So I'm just going to play this heart bowl and just bring us into our hearts to really feel what I just said, and just to really feel that we are truly moving into a new age, a new golden age. And it might be rocky for a while, but we need to focus on the light, the new creations, the love, the truth, the wisdom. So let's just go into our hearts right now, going into your heart and just feeling the excitement, the energies about this new earth. What are your heart dreamings of yourself in this new earth? We'll start with that, and just feeling yourself in this new consciousness, actually seeing yourself and feeling yourself moving into this new vibration, this new skin, this new, and in some ways, I think we're going to be moving into this new human, which is being in our greater light body, which is our divine blueprint. So just allowing yourself to really feel that divine blueprint that you are with your unique gifts and bringing those into the new earth, contributing your heart blessings, your heart gifts to be of service to the whole. Just feeling that unique facet of the divine that you are. Maybe your gift is bringing a new healing system in that hasn't been on the earth before. Or maybe it's bringing back some of the ancient ways of healing with the earth and the herbs and plants and flowers. Or maybe it's, bringing in a new kind of art and music and sound, or a new way of doing business and living on the earth sustainably. We all have our gifts, and our gift is where our heart energy is, where our heart light is, and where our passion is. Because in the new earth, it is to be living in our passion and our joy, not to be soldiers of the old world, but to be truly rainbow warriors, rainbow beings, new humans in the new earth. So just feel that inside yourself. And since we only have another minute or less, let us just begin to envision and see and feel the new earth, the new consciousness, the new golden age, the Aquarian age. Some call it the fifth dimension, as we move from the third, more physical, mundane, dense vibration into a higher vibration of love and truth and those higher energies. Just imagine and see this new earth. And just really behold that energy now of the new earth. Just for a few seconds now. And I just want to thank you, since we have to end, so much for being here today. And I encourage you to continue to envision the new earth within yourself and what you're bringing forth, and also for the larger humanity. And if anyone wants to reach me, you can reach me at Gaia Sophia, templeoftheheart.com. And Alelia is my spiritual name. At Alelia at GaiaSophiaTempleOfTheHeart.com is my email.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you,
Yes.
Deb. We'll be back. We'll be back in 2 weeks on the 29th. And then 2 weeks after that, we're going to bring back Alan Steinfeld, wonderful guy who's made lots of contact outside of this universe, outside of this earth, I should say, with beings, and which is what my class is going to be. I learned from him, actually. So he'll be on in the middle of November. Love you all. We both love you all, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Many blessings and much love. Bye.
Bye, everybody.